We've been tracking comic book movies for our entire careers here. As you've seen, they've gotten much better over time. You probably went to the theater to see a few. They're good quality films. They were not always that way, and specifically one of them that Max and I watched recently, The Comedy Button, is a hit film called Spawn. And this week we found out some weird news. They're making a new Spawn starring Jamie Foxx.
So now we've known about this for quite some time. This is one of those things that it's getting closer. It's like glacial development. It's gradually chipping away. For a while, Todd McFarlane, creator of Spawn, was like, yeah, I'm working on a script for Spawn. It's going to be much smaller, much more horror focused. And we were like, we'll believe it when we see it, Todd. And then a year later, they were like, Blumhouse, the guys behind Get Out, and what is it? They do like the Purge and a bunch of horror movies and stuff.
Yeah. And real quick, for those of you who might be thinking you have a computer virus or something right now, this is the trailer for the original Spawn film. This is what it looked like.
So bad.
This is what we thought we wanted.
Yes. For the record, he didn't wear his cape for most of the movie because the CG was too expensive and they didn't think to use fabric. But no, so we found out that Blumhouse is working on this, and that's like a pretty good vote of confidence.
Yeah.
And McFarlane's been talking a lot about how he wants to lean into the R rating and really make this much more of a horror movie where it's about people who live in the world with Spawn, and that Spawn is more like, like the shark from Jaws, which is a cool comparison. I remember people comparing like Heath Ledger's Joker to that. It's more of almost like a just a terrifying element that exists kind of in the ether. Spawn has like a lot of weird, messed up lore, but the core idea is kind of cool because he's basically like, I don't know, Venom meets Ghost Rider, but with Cable's guns.
Yeah. Okay.
Punisher's skulls.
Yeah. I like that. You would be great on like Chopped.
Yeah. Most recently though, and this is the biggest sort of vote of confidence that this project is actually happening, is that Jamie Foxx signed on to star as Al Simmons, aka Spawn.
Host of the hit show Beat Shazam.
That's not Shazam, the DC hero. That's the app that tells you what that song is.
Just tell you if you're listening to the song.
It's probably Ed Sheeran.
Are you smart enough to beat the fifth grader?
Are you smarter than a fifth grader's phone? Anyway, no. So I'm actually like, I'm cautiously optimistic for a Spawn movie.
That's exactly where you should be.
Yeah, cautiously optimistic. One thing I really love is that Todd McFarlane, like that dude doesn't need to make movies. He's very rich. He's made Spawn. He doesn't need to make a Spawn again. Like he's doing it because he cares. And one thing he said that I think is fascinating is he's adamant that Spawn shouldn't talk. He really doesn't think he should talk because he thinks he should be more of this like evil. He thinks he should be like the Mothman or something, or like Jason Voorhees. Like he's describing him as this sort of like this thing where you're like, I don't understand what it is. The second something talks, it becomes less scary. Look at in The Predator when it starts, or not The Predator, or one of the Predators, the Predator movies. When the Predator swears at Danny Glover or whatever, it's not. It's less scary when the Predator swears.
Why do you book a big budget dude like Jamie Foxx if you're gonna cover him?
Because he's gonna play Al Simmons.
For what, 10 minutes?
I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what
you cover the guy with rubber wounds and then you don't let him talk.
You do it with flashbacks where he's hanging out with his wife, Wanda.
The best parts of Spawn.
Yeah.
Wanda.
So yeah, anyway, I don't know. There's an interesting story to be told there, and I don't know exactly how you go about it.
Yeah.
But McFarlane's also talking about how like he's like, hey, I'm in my 50s. I'm patient. I'm not in a hurry to like rush this movie out. And when the first Spawn movie came out, he was not. He was in his 30s.
You and I interviewed Todd McFarlane together about toys, which is like one of my career highlights because that was really fun.
He's a guy who cares about what he does.
Yeah, he's a genuinely passionate man. And I'll share this anecdote because like not like it helps because there's already been one bad Spawn movie underneath his watchful eye.
The HBO series is really cool though.
But this is a guy that designed toys because he went to the store and was like, they're not making the toys that I want, so I'm just gonna make my own. So I hope that he's looking at the superhero genre right now, which is not what it was back then, and he's going, what's missing? Horror.
Yeah.
It absolutely is, because I think when we heard about Venom being a thing, it went from being a comedy from the directors of Zombieland to some horror to now we've seen the trailer, it's just a straight up, action, a fish out of water action movie.
Honestly, watch the trailer for Spawn and watch the trailer for Venom. It has a lot of scenes where somebody who should have a cool costume is just riding a motorcycle instead.
Yeah. So I think this could work. Yeah. I'm with you. If this is an actual horror movie and less of a superhero movie, I think this could totally work. I'm with you on this.
Yeah.
I hope they have the money for the CG cape now. The chains are also very important.
Yeah, I hope they just make it so you can barely see him, and he's like a scary like phantom figure.
Let me ask you, do you want the costume to be like totally on point 90s, or do you want them to take some modern tendencies like they do with the MCU?
I want it to look like it was something that got made in hell, Like I wanted to. The thing about Spawn is that it's all drawn by McFarlane or Greg Capullo or whatever. But like I love the idea. One of the first things he does is his Spawn gives him, or his costume gives him like magical powers. But every time he uses them, he's got a finite amount.
Right.
So the first thing he does is he uses his magic Satan powers to break into like a military hardware facility and steal all these badass guns. So he's got all like the Punisher cables guns. Like it was the 90s. What do you want?
Of course.
But then he's walking around with all these bandoliers, but they're like tactical gear over this weird like necromancer armor basically. So I like the idea of fusing something that exists in real life with something utterly horrifying, which is a dead man who's wearing like a satanic like smart costume. So I don't know.
Yes, I think
it could be interesting. So I don't want to see what I want to see a Spawn movie.
I want to see the Spawn.
I want to see Spawn. Anyway, let us know.
Hold on, we've gotten like 10 minutes without talking about this. Max has like 50 Spawn toys on his desk. He has Christmas Spawn.
I have Christmas Spawn.
He had the entire thing of Spawn Pogs. He gave me Spawn Pogs once.
That was like two things. I don't have that many toys. I have one. I have Santa Claus Spawn.
I'm not putting you on blast. What I'm saying is,
I did buy you Spawn Pogs.
The boy loves Spawn.
I don't know.
You make a good Spawn. Make my young sick son happy with the Spawn.
Mr. Foxx, Mr.
McFarlane,
Bloomhouse.
please make a good Spawn for my sick
Do
child.
the Spawn right. Yeah, and if you're bored, go check out the HBO cartoon because it's totally warped and really interesting. I don't know how they made that.
Make my tall Hawaiian tree of a son happy.
Make my monster grow!
Make a good Spawn.
Yeah. So obviously we're pretty keen on seeing a Spawn movie. We talked about it before on this very show because we're ahead of the curve. We might have said some of the same things, but if you don't have anything else go on, go check out that video in which we have bad hair and Brian's face is much, much fatter. Speaking of horror movies coming out in this day and age, we talked about a bunch of horror movies coming out in 2018 that we're excited about, and people got mad at us because we didn't talk about The Predator or the Halloween movie, but those look cool too. Thanks for watching Up at Noon, and for the horrors! He's been back there for like 10 minutes. It's really weird. Stop.
That's so beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you. Those are great.
We did it.